My thoughts will never let me down, for they will forever find their way back to her. It is much to carry, but I would not go without it, for she has grown to be part of me, and myself cultivated from pieces of her. And so we travel on the journey of life together. I remember, I feel and think, I ponder every moment of our existence, for this attachment has become the essence of my being, the reality which I saw with my eyes and felt with my heart. Now an illusion I see only with my mind. She had been all that had passed me before I could notice, whose voice gets carried by the breeze and finds my ears, whose thoughts vibrate and mingle with my thoughts. She helps me to detach from the reality of the world. I remember, I feel, and I embrace the pain, but my fragile heart is just as secure as before, safe in the memories of her perfect affection. My memory plays tricks on me as I follow the long shadows of solitude. The perfume feeling of love still continues to make me dream of the deliberate, sensually engaged way of being part of this life. My mind enjoys her essence. It observes her tinge at its complete leisure. In her company, I linger unseen and flourish in her pleasures. I touch the sweetness of her intimacy without letting go of the musings, reflections of those unfulfilled longings that remained unscathed. My thoughts will never let me down, for they will always find their way back to her. It is much to carry, but I would not go on without it, for she has grown to be part of me. And so we travel on the journey of life together. In the expressive language of love and pain that I am privileged to know, the injury hurts so much that even I want to collapse in deep sorrow. I shudder from the tremble I feel from the writer's hand as I detect the slow, shallow theme song of the Broken Hearts Band. I sense the weakness of the body and the awkwardness of the suspended soul. I recognize the bruise from the moist wetness of a tear on the paper as I scroll. I am a pen. I can tell you a lot of things that you know, or may not know already. The story of love and longings has been channeled through me lately, the good and the not so good, the told and the untold. Oftentimes, when the pages open and I see their light, and the drop of tear grace the page, I cower in fright when I sense the tremor and I feel the pain late into the night, even when the writer quietly agonizes in silence and ceases to write. But I am a pen. I must be strong and keep my shoulders on the wheel. I must wrangle the pain and hold it together for a time to heal. And sometimes I must carry the burden on my back for days, as I take the heavy load and make it mine for part of the unsteady way. That which is written on the lines and which my eyes have seen, as well as those unwritten words of hurt and longings buried in between. As the river of his distressed mind grew broader and thicker into despair, I am drawn into the flow of his discomfort, which I arduously share. His thoughts drift with the undercurrents that love inspired, navigating between the submerged wreckage of lustful desires and the illusory rapids of undeniable anguish that transpire. He nurses his deep solitude with her intimate memories, the only belongings of him and hers he was left to carry, as he hungered for even an ounce of her love and affection, which at one time she had bestowed upon him with perfection. Over time, I had come to learn fragments about the human life, that the past is gone with time and the future is too far away to surmise. And so the soul grabs onto and latches itself to the love it had before, a love that crossed boundaries and allowed the body and the spirits to soar. Blinded and lost in the dust of feverish desire, moments of love that transcends into the language only the soul understands, moments when there is no giver or receiver, for both are the same, and the soul cannot try to remember, for it never forgot the flame. But I am his pen, you see. I must be strong and keep my shoulders on the wheel. I must wrangle the hurt and hold it together for his time to heal. I must record every line that is carefully thought out to emulate the longings, every word that is meticulously chosen to reflect the lust of the heart's foraging. I am compelled to assess every pause, every comma in its hold, every correction made with the echo of the solitude of the imperishable soul. I am obliged to appraise every hesitation, every breath, and adjourn of the charged mind, and the path that the soul took, to find the love and the injury which it was assigned. I cannot decide when the emotions are too much, or question the expressions, but I must record and protect them from time's unyielding dispossession. It's clear to me, and I can feel it in the soul's mooring, that she was the spirit that made him free from the knotted hold of his longings. Caged in his languishing dreams, she opened the gates and matured his cravings. But the projectionist cannot break any rules. No matter how sympathetic it can be, he must carry the luggage of love and regrets with him in order to stay free. It seems that the universe deftly lays down the rules of this particular fantasy with elegant economy and pacing, and then uses the looping structure of a repeated scene to explore the way hurt and yearning stretch through time, connecting us to the ones we love, even after they are long gone from our side. Tonight I will rest for now, but I must be ready for tomorrow, as I never know what story of love and reminiscences I will have to record and show, and what pain and sorrow I would have to convey or undergo, what empty solitude I would bear witness to and try to mediate, what distressed feelings of hurt I would have to observe and mitigate, what agonizing impairment would I have to give testimony through, what tormenting longings would tomorrow is scripted to renew, that which is written on the lines and which my eyes would have seen, as well as those unwritten words of torture and suffering in between. Why is this quietness between us, even before we engage in the passion? We have not been separated, yet there is this repose, there is a distance. Why has the desire subsisted? Is it because our minds were preoccupied with promises written on the shore of our hearts, washed by the tide? The soothing pitter-patter of sparse raindrops lingers like musical notes after the deafening, angry outburst that the drums of thunder provoked. Like the lusty taste of a stolen kiss, the rumble dissipates in the distance, into the thick wetness of the night, and softly succumbs to a tame silence. The pitch of chirping birds pierces the hush of the thick green canopy after the giant oak buckle and crumble to the feet of the forest floor. The sound of the crash renders the forest to fear, then quiet in the brush, but like a well-timed symphony, the birds came out and broke the hush. Two spent lovers lay helpless in each other's arms after passionate love. The soft ebb and flow of their breaths mingle with the crumpled sheets. Spent to the core of their existence that only limp lovers would know, the tranquility of their hot breaths silently spoke loudly of their intimacy. The sandy shore of the riverbanks is resting, soothed by the east winds, after a sensuous trashing by languishing waves from the departed tide. Like two lustful lovers, the shore and tide meet after a long separation. The dispassion of the seashore lies silently as it awaits their next meeting. Why is this quietness between us even before we engage in the passion? We have not been separated, yet there is this repose, there is a distance. Why has the desire subsisted? Is it because our minds were preoccupied with promises written on the shore of our hearts, washed by the tide?